Hello, welcome to week number 8 of Love Talks. I am your host, Ina Love, and I'm delighted if you are here joining me today. To all of you or any of you who are returning, thank you so much. If this is your first Love Talk, welcome. I always like to begin with a little bit of a recap just for anyone who may be new to Love Talks. As I said, this is the 8th segment. The way Love Talks works, it's sort of a progression of series. So each one kind of builds on the last segment. And we completed our first series, which was 5 segments of what I call the Healing the Heart series. And 3 weeks ago, we started a new series that I'm calling the Love in Relationship series. So we started with love of self, love of God, and today we'll be diving into love of one another. So again, I thank you all for joining me. And also I want to mention, if you happen to have missed any of the previous segments, you can find them all here on my Facebook page. Also, I have a YouTube channel at Ina Love Poetry, or my website, somethingaboutlove.foundation.org. So let's get started. I have a lot to share today. So I just want to begin by asking if you would just please lend me your ears, because we are all painfully aware of what is happening in our world today. And if we truly want to make a difference, to see a change in the world, we have to work together. And change begins with you. Change begins with me. It is our collective responsibility. So I'm going to be sharing a lot of my insight on what we can do to start to heal and create a better world for all of us. So again, I'm asking just, if you'll please lend me your ears and take this information to heart. Our world seems to be very much out of order. It's really, I almost say, frightening to see what is happening in our world today. The chaos that we are living in. It's frightening and it's saddening. Now, I say frightening, but I'm not afraid because I'm a believer. I believe in God, and I know that God is with us, and I believe with all my heart that we are going to get through this. But we can't expect it to just magically happen. We have created the world that we're in, and we have to work together to heal this, to work our way through this. So I was really curious. I didn't know the answer to this, so I did a little research. And I learned that human beings have inhabited the earth in what I call human form, a species that looked most like what we look like today, for over 2 million years. 2 million years. That is 730 million days that human beings have inhabited the earth. The theory of evolution suggests that we evolved from primates, apes, and animal species. And this seems logical to me that, we could have certainly evolved from animals. I believe that to be true. Certainly, when we look at the way that we are all behaving in the world, it absolutely seems that this could be true. Well, I would like to believe that in 2,000 years of evolving as a species, a human species, that we might have lost some of our animalistic tendencies. And in fact, we have, it's true. But again, you can look at the world and see we still have a lot of evolving to do, if you will. And that's really what I'm suggesting today, is that we really begin to focus, start living consciously, and shift, make another shift, a human evolution to become more human, less animalistic. And the type of animalistic behaviors I'm talking about, obviously, fighting one another, killing one another, aggression, all of this angst that is running amok amongst us today. We can make a choice to change our ways, change our behavior, and again, become more human. We are beings of God. We all come from the same source. God created each and every one of us, and we were all created equally. There are over 8 billion people on the planet today, and truly, we are all different. There are not two of us that look the same. Even if, you have an identical twin, no two of us are the same. And that's pretty miraculous. We are all different, but we are more alike than we are different. And we need to really learn to accept our differences and appreciate and accept all the things that we have in common. And we have a lot in common. We all have a right to be here. We are one people, one species, from one source, all created the same. So where do we begin? Where do we begin to affect change in our world? We start right here and right now today with a conscious choice. Each and every one of us making a choice to do our part, to show up and live peacefully in the world. There are a lot of things that we need to change and be aware of. And what I'm going to share with you is not anything new. It's things that we all know. But clearly, if we look at what's happening in the world, it's obvious that we are not practicing these things. So I really just want to take a look at some of the hurdles that we need to overcome as we begin to look at ourselves individually and each make a personal commitment to be our absolute best, to do our best, put our first foot forward as we begin to heal the world. Because I absolutely believe it's possible. It may seem overwhelming if you look at it on a global scale. If you look at everything that is happening in the world, yes, it is massive. But change begins with each and every one of us making an individual commitment. And as we individually change, our individual change. So these are some of my insights on things that we can work on to become better people, to be the people that God created us to be, so that we can work toward living in harmony. First, we need to learn to trust. Trust is a huge, huge problem today. We've all been through so many things. None of us even know how to trust anymore. But what I've learned, and again, everything that I'm sharing is what I've learned from my own personal experiences. And what I have learned about trust, because believe me, about a year ago, literally a year ago, I was at a place in my life where I felt like I couldn't trust anyone. And I was really horrified when I realized, wow, I don't even know how to trust anymore. And I had to pray that out of my heart. I literally prayed to God. I said, Lord, I want to trust. I want to trust. I don't want to live my life not trusting anyone. I believe that we are supposed to be able to trust one another. And I try to live by my truths. I try to live my truths. And that's what we're all missing. We're not practicing the things that we know to be true. So I prayed and I said, God, please take this out of my heart. I want to trust. And what I learned is that, or what I realized is that it's really not about trusting another person or not trusting another person. It's about learning to trust ourselves. Because if we truly believe in God, if we are walking through this life with God, and if we are truly open, meaning pay attention, we have to be wise. There are a lot of tricksters in this world. But we really, if you truly pay attention, we always know. The truth is always there. Sorry, I lost my thought there for a moment. Oh, it's gonna bother me until it comes back, so give me a second. Okay. Well, what I'm saying is that it's truly about learning to trust yourself. And that is ultimately what I learned. And I realized this is what I wanted to share. Every time I've had an experience with someone where, let's say someone took advantage of me, or someone, what all the things that we all go through, someone betrays you, all of these things, or, perhaps even in a relationship where someone was not sincere. If you look back at all of those experiences, everything you've been through, you will realize that there was always something there that you knew. And that's what we have to learn, is to really pay attention and trust ourselves. There's always that little voice or something there that says, something here isn't right. So that's what I mean when I say it's not about trusting anyone else. We really just have to learn to pay attention and trust ourselves. So that is the way we learn to trust until we can truly trust one another again, as it was meant to be. But we began by trusting ourselves. Honesty. Honesty is another huge issue that we all need to work on. Really being a truthful, honest person, a trustworthy person. I read somewhere that no one is 100% truthful. But there's a difference between telling what I call little white lies versus just all out lying to someone, just being dishonest. And when that's what you're doing with in an attempt to, take advantage to a person or deceive them or something of that nature. We always know. A little white lie might be like, you see your friend and you say, oh, hi, you look great today. And you didn't really mean that, but you're being kind, making your friend feel good. That's absolutely okay. But we want to be truthful, be trustworthy, be honest. So many people don't know how to keep it real. And we have to learn to keep it real. We can tell someone the truth without it being in a hurtful, ugly, harmful way. Just speak your truth and be truthful, be honest, be trustworthy. These are the things that we have to work on to begin to heal as people. It's hard to trust anyone, and because we don't trust anyone, we don't believe anyone. So we have to work on this by becoming these things, becoming truthful, becoming trustworthy, becoming an honest person. All of these things we have to give attention to and be aware of the choices that we're making. Again, this is all about being your best self. It's an individual choice, and we all have to do our part. Listening. Listening is another big one, because so many of us really don't know how to listen. Several years ago, I took, it was some type of a test on learning what type of listener you are. And many of us don't even realize that when we're talking to someone, we're not really listening to understand what they're saying. Like we hear the words, but it's just words. We don't really receive them as truth. We don't receive them to really understand. We don't take them to heart. We're just ready to give an answer. And many times we're often trying to combat what someone is sharing. We really need to learn to listen, to understand. And, so many of arguments and fights that we get into is because everyone wants to be right. But in truth, we're all right. We all have our own beliefs. What I believe that I'm right about it. What you believe that you're right about it. We can just agree to disagree, but let's talk respectfully. Let's communicate and try to understand. And when someone is saying to you that, if someone that you love and care about comes to you and says, I didn't like when you did whatever. I didn't like when you said whatever. So many of us have a really hard time hearing that. But truly, we don't have the right to tell someone that they were not hurt. Maybe, perhaps you didn't intend to hurt that person, but if they are saying to you, you hurt me, you have to hear that. And if you really care about that person, apologize. If you didn't intend to hurt them, hear what they're saying and say, I didn't mean to hurt you. I'm sorry. I will try not to do that again. And that's how we began to heal these things. But so many of us have a really hard time hearing someone say, you've done something that hurt me. It doesn't mean you're a horrible person. Maybe you're a horrible listener, just as I was. When I took that test, I was told that I was a leisure listener, meaning I listened for the things that I wanted to hear. I wasn't really hearing everything that was being said to me. And I had to actually work on developing better listening skills. So I'm sharing these things because oftentimes we do things and we don't even realize. So become a better listener. Listen to the people you love and care about. If you truly, truly care about someone, you have to care about the way they feel and hear them when they're saying, you've done something to hurt me, and just do better. It's that simple. Anger. That's another big one. So many people in the world today are angry. I mean, look at what's happening in our world. There's so much anger. And I understand why people are angry. People are tired of being mistreated, tired of fighting, fighting to, people are angry, really angry. But we have to get control of that energy. We have to not allow anger to control us. If you really start to pay attention and get in tune with yourself, you know when anger is coming on. And if you're having a conversation with someone and you find yourself getting angry, walk away. Take a moment to just breathe and regroup. And literally, I'm not kidding when I say this, everything is energy. Everything is energy. If you are talking to someone and they begin to get angry, and then you start to get angry, you are taking on their energy. That's why I say walk away. Don't join someone in that anger. Literally, you can say no. Tell that energy to go away. Anger is a choice, and you have control of it. If you've given it too much control, like if you allow yourself to tap into that energy, often, it grows, it gets stronger, and it starts to control you. And people have done and said things in anger that can't be taken back. So really be aware of that energy when it's present. Be aware of it if it's trying to come on you, and say no. Find a peaceful way to resolve whatever the issue is. There's always, always a peaceful resolution. So it's all about having control. And just one more point on that, about controlling anger. We really just have to stop fighting one another. Like, why are we so angry? And as I said, there are many reasons why we're angry. We've been through so many things in life and people are tired. I get it. I get it. But we're not going to resolve anything by continuing to fight one another. So let's find peaceful ways to resolve our differences. Healing. I did a whole segment on healing the heart. I think it was in the heart healing series, we talked about this. We talked about healing the heart a couple weeks ago in the Love of Self segment. And as I said, we've all been through so much in life. We have so much to heal. And we are walking through life with these scars, some visible, some invisible, but we are all scarred by our experiences. And we have to truly work on healing these scars. None of us want to be hurt. So why do we hurt others? We have to stop hurting ourselves and each other. Again, be aware of all of these things that we're doing. It's our individual choice, our individual responsibility to create a better world. And we have no control of anyone else, but surely we all have control of ourselves. So what I'm suggesting is that we all do our part, do our best. So work on healing. Again, a lot of forgiveness. We talked a lot about this, but we just have to stop hurting one another. Just something to be conscious of that. Hate. Hate is just in our faces right now today. So much hate. And I really thought about this. What is the purpose of hate? It serves no good purpose. Why hate anything, anyone, or anything? I don't think in my entire life I've ever hated anything. And I pray to God that I never do. But so many people have hate in their heart, and we have to pray this away. Believe me when I tell you, if you are willing, you can change anything. Pray it away. I've done that so many times. I have prayed and asked God to help me with something, and it will be removed from your heart if you sincerely want that. So please understand, if you carry hate in your heart, you're not really hurting anyone else. I mean, obviously we can act out of hate and hurt others, but truly hate only hurts you. I can't even tell you what it does to your body. So much of the illnesses that we carry in our body, disease, if you will, if you break the word down, it's dis-ease. When we are not at ease when in our bodies, it causes disease. Hate is one of the most destructive things on the body. So please be aware of that. If you carry hate toward anyone or anything for any reason, work on releasing that. You don't want to hold that energy in your body. The value of human life. This is another big one, because when I look at a lot of things that are happening in the world, aside from, the racism that's running amok, that ugly thing that has reared its head, But a lot of the things that people do to one another, it's all for money. It's all about things. We have put the value of things over the value of life. And look at what it has done to us. We have to realize that nothing is more valuable, nothing is more important than life. You know, life is truly a gift, and we have to appreciate life, not only our lives, but others. Respect life. We are all of God. God created each and every one of us, and everyone has a right to life. So we really need to be aware of what we are doing to one another. See that life is valuable. And we're wasting so much time chasing after things that we're missing out on the joy of living. You know, I see people who are just truly practically killing themselves and willing to do anything for stuff. But that's not what life is about. Life is meant to be happy. Life is meant to be enjoyed. We need to slow down and enjoy life. Be happy right where you are. Believe me, things are not going to make you happy. They don't. It's momentary satisfaction, but you know, before you can even take that pair of shoes out of the box, you're looking for something else to fill that void. So we need to realize that life is not about things. Life is meant to be happy. Be happy. You know, if your blessings come, we all like things. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with things. The problem is if we see the value of things being more valuable than life, that is a problem. And there are people who are willing to do anything. So just be aware if you feel, you know, and I think life has become so commercialized that we all think we have to have things. And don't get me wrong, I like things. I love the finer things. I tell you a personal story. I met my ex-husband when I was 13 years old. He was 15, I was 13. I've known him practically my whole life. We were kids. We grew up together. We started a company together. We built a very successful company together. We had everything that everyone is chasing after, the big house and the cars and the private jets and you name it, been there and done it, had it all. And I looked around one day and I said, this is not it. Life is not about things. Yes, all those things are wonderful, beautiful, but I've so simplified my life today, and I'm so much happier than I ever was. And that is the honest truth. So please realize life is not about things. Enjoy life. Love your life. Appreciate your life. Appreciate one another. We all have a right to live life freely and be happy. We have to stop playing games with one another. You know, so many of us, we know what we're doing. We know what we're doing. We absolutely know what we're doing. We have to stop manipulating one another, especially people's hearts. I don't think there's anything worse you can do to a person than to play with their heart. You know, if you truly care about a person, and if you don't, please let that person go. You know, so many people are willing to be in a relationship for things, and to each his own, truly, to each his own. But wouldn't you rather be truly happy, have a real love relationship, than to make your life, again, about things? There's so much more to life. So we have to stop playing these games and manipulating one another. You know, as I stroll through Facebook, I see so many people that are running scams. And I know that life is hard right now. People are going through really tough times. And, you know, as I said, people are willing to do anything, you know, for to survive. I get that, but you have to find a better way. Criminal acts are never right. It's just not right. We have to find another way. I think it was last week, I believe it was last week's segment. I shared the story about the man in Hawaii who saw a tree being chopped down, and he just thought this tree was so beautiful and he took it home. And that night he had a dream. And in the dream, he was shown how to make ink pens. God put that on his heart. If you are living your life for God, trust me, you will find a way. There's always a better way, but we have to choose it. Choose to do right. Find a better way. We are such intelligent beings. People who come up with these scams and things, like, there are some really ingenious things that people come up with, but use all your intelligence, use your brain power and all of that creativity, use it to create something good, something legitimate, something that you don't have to worry about or, carry that burden of what you've done. Believe me, no one, not one human being is perfect. And every person on this planet has made mistakes. But as we grow, we learn, we learn as we grow. You get what I'm saying? And, when you know better, you have to do better. You can't go through your whole life just, taking advantage of people and getting by in that way, because there's a change happening and we're all going to have to evolve with the change. And also, people who choose to do wrong, oftentimes they somehow know how to justify their actions. Like, somehow in your mind, you can find a reason to make it right. Well, right is right and wrong is wrong. Stop justifying your actions, and we have to choose to do the right thing. I had a person say to me once that there is no such thing as right or wrong. And I was absolutely floored, like literally floored. And my response was, first of all, are you serious? And they were very serious. They didn't believe there was such a thing as right or wrong. And I said to them, I said, you are the kind of person who is capable of anything, and you are wrong. There is a right and wrong, and we all know the difference. So what I'm talking about in creating a better world is choosing to do the right thing. As I said, none of us are perfect. None of us. As long as we walk this earth, we are human beings, we are flawed, okay? But you have to think about the choices you're making. You have to think about the things that you're doing, and we have to make the right choices. When we fall, get up and choose better the next time. But really think about the choices you're making and how they impact, potentially your life, the people around you, and, possibly the whole world. We saw what happened, a couple months ago with George Floyd. That officer's choice impacted the entire world. So we have to start to think about how our choices impact others. We've become such a selfish people. We really are. It's like everyone to his own. Like, I'll get you before you get me. It's this like a dog eat dog world. We've been doing that for too long. And look at where we are. Look at what is happening. We have to change. We have to change our ways. We have to really become conscious and think about the choices we're making and how they impact others. And lastly, on this subject, I want to say that we really need to make amends. And I say this because, again, none of us are perfect. We have all made mistakes. I think every one of us have done things that we probably regret. But I cannot tell you how powerful it is to make amends. If you have done something and it burdens you, first of all, that's a good thing. It means you have a conscience. If you have done something in your life and it burdens you, make it right. Go and talk to that person. If you can't face them, write them a